So it is a privilege and honor to introduce David Michaels, Assistant Secretary of Labor for OSHA. Since the agency was founded over 40 years ago, we can count 2, maybe 3 directors who have had any real commitment to worker health and safety. But we have had a succession of directors whose major preoccupation was to reduce the, quote, burden of OSHA regulations on business by reducing penalties, cutting funds for worker training, and refusing to promulgate needed standards. Remember Regan's appointee, Thorne Octor? His only experience was that his construction company had been cited by OSHA for violations. Then there was W's appointment of Edwin Falk. He spent his time giving lectures that blamed workers for getting injured on the job. Some of us have wondered over the years if it were possible to criminally prosecute OSHA administrators for crimes against humanity. With that history, it's hard, wonderfully hard, to know how to deal with a head of OSHA committed to making the agency work for working people. David is a NYCOSH founder. His involvement goes back to the organization's inception in 1976, when a small group of health professionals and union activists began to hold brown bag breakfasts or lunches to educate themselves about workplace health and safety hazards. Out of those meetings, NYCOSH was born. David and Debbie Nagin served as co-chairs of the new organization. We refer to these days as our prehistoric time, before NYCOSH had a staff and was incorporated. It was people like David and Deborah who began to build a labor-based organization around the principles that every worker deserves a safe and healthful workplace, that workplace injuries and illnesses could be prevented, and that working people acting in and through their unions could act in their own self-interest to protect their safety and health. While we would love to claim that NYCOSH was instrumental in preparing David to become the OSHA administrator, he has been involved in a wide range of activities that have had dramatic impact on this field. Working with Tony Mazzocchi, David set up and administered an internship program at the School of Social Medicine at Montefiore Hospital. This program prepared medical residents and people interested in industrial hygiene to work with unions so they might experience firsthand the health and safety hazards workers face and the struggles they go through to eliminate them. Out of this program have come many of the leaders in our field. David has also shown an ability to implement meaningful government programs. In the Clinton administration, he was Assistant Secretary of Energy for Environment, Safety and Health, responsible for protecting the health and safety of workers in nuclear weapons plants. In this role, he started and administered the Energy Employees Occupational Illness Compensation Program to compensate nuclear weapons workers whose exposure to radiation, beryllium, and other hazards made them ill. When Clinton left office, David returned to academia as Professor of Environmental and Occupational Health at George Washington School of Public Health and Health Services, directing the department's project on scientific knowledge and public policy. He has also recently published a book, Doubt is Their Product: How Industry's Assault on Science Threatens Your Health. It details how industry misuses science to undermine the public's health, and it's well worth reading. Let me end by observing that during the 8 years of the Bush administration, not a lot went on at OSHA. Correct that. Some things did happen. Standards that OSHA had worked on for a decade were revoked, and fines were reduced. But what I mean is, you didn't have to run out and pick up the BNA OSHA Reporter to keep up with the latest developments in occupational safety and health. Nothing was happening, and if it was, it wasn't good. Now, in the short time that David has been at OSHA, 5 months, the speed at which the agency is moving is breathtaking. Here are just a few headlines from the April 29th BNA. Pace of OSHA inspections, citations, is highest ever so far in fiscal year 2010. OSHA revises field operations manual, raising average penalty for serious violations. Michaels tells senators of support for fixes, including presumptively willful citations. There's more, but you get the picture. David, we are so proud and honored to have you here tonight.